let us talk about solar energy. We all know solar energy means the energy which we get from the sun, and sun is a source of huge amount of energy, right? So solar energy is the energy which we get from the sun. When we get this energy from the sun, only a small portion reaches to the earth's surface, because almost half of it is absorbed when it is passing through the atmosphere. You can think of that how much energy is radiated by the sun. From that, only a small portion of energy will reaches to the outer layer of the earth's atmosphere, and from that also half of it is already absorbed when it's passing through the atmosphere, and rest, the remaining, will reach to the earth's surface. Now, how do we utilize this solar energy? So let us see some of the applications of solar energy. So first application is solar cooker, then it is solar water heater and solar cells. These all are the applications of solar energy. A black surface absorbs more heat as compared to a white or reflecting surface under identical conditions. In general also, we think that the clothes which we wear, from that the black color or dark color clothes absorb more heat, right? And the white colored or the light colored clothes do not absorb that much heat. So in summer we prefer to wear light color or white colored clothes. Why? Because black surface absorbs more heat. That is why we use it. So here also keep that concept in mind, that a black surface absorbs more heat compared to a white or reflecting surface under identical conditions. So solar cooker and solar water heater use this property in their working. So now we are going to learn about working of solar cooker. What principle it is used? The principle that a black color surface absorb more heat. Now let us talk about working of solar cooker. Some solar cooker achieve a high temperature by using mirrors to focus the rays of the sun. Solar cookers are covered with a glass plate. Now first of all, see, a solar cooker has reflective mirrors of polished glass. You can see in the diagram it is shown mirror. They are reflective mirrors. What will happen? These reflective mirrors help to concentrate the sunlight. Okay, so this is the first step. Then you can see the inside surface of the solar cooker is black. Okay, so this black surface will convert sunlight into heat. As we know that black color absorb more heat, so it will convert sunlight into heat. And then the next step, you can see there is a glass sheet where you are seeing this black color surface inside the box. Over to it, in the diagram you see there is a blue color line, outer line. Okay, so there also there is a glass sheet. Okay, it is tightly sealed. Why? Because it helps to traps the heat. So more and more heat is trapped. And then lastly, there will be this glass plate or sheet which helps for greenhouse effect. Now you will think how here greenhouse effect came. So we have learned about greenhouse effect in our previous standards. So here this glass plate is used for infrared light to allow but not to escape. Now you will think, what are this infrared? We have already discussed that the sunlight has many different types, right? Infrared, ultraviolet rays, visible light, okay, from which the infrared has the wavelength of 700 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. Okay, so this means infrared radiation help us to absorb more and more heat. So here, what will be the function of this glass plate? This glass plate allow infrared radiations to enter through it, but it will not allow infrared rays to go out. And because of that, if the infrared radiations in infrared rays are there inside the box, then what will happen? As it had so much heat, as a result it will increase the temperature inside the cooker. As a result, the food which we have kept will be cooked. So there's four steps you keep in mind. First one, that there are reflective mirrors of polished glass which helps to concentrate sunlight, to focus the sunlight. Second, there is a black surface which converts sunlight into heat. And then there is a tightly sealed glass plate or glass sheet which traps heat, which means it help for greenhouse effect, which means it will allow infrared radiation to enter through it, but it will not allow infrared radiation to go out, and as a result the temperature will increase. So this is the working of solar cooker. There are some advantages and disadvantages associated with this. So let us see advantages of solar cooker. So solar energy is a renewable source of energy. Why? Because we will get sunlight for more and more years. So it is not going to be over, right? So it is a renewable source of energy. Next is it saves precious fuel like LPG, coal. Also, it does not produce smoke. The next is nutrients of food do not get destroyed. At the same time, there are some disadvantages also. First, it can be used only on a sunny day. When there is a cloudy weather, we cannot use solar cooker. Also, we can use it during the daytime only. We cannot use it at night time. Also, it will take more time for cooking as well as for frying. Another disadvantage is there that the position of mirror which reflects the sun rays. You can see in the diagram we have reflected mirrors. So the position of the mirrors which reflect the sun rays need to be monitored. Why? Because in whichever direction you will get more sunlight, in that direction you need to keep. So again and again you need to change the direction. So this is also a disadvantage. So this is all about solar cooker, its advantages and disadvantages. Here you need to keep in mind that solar water heaters and solar cells also work on this principle only. Now we have discussed about solar cookers, and we know that solar water heaters also worked based on that principle only. These devices have disadvantages. So these devices are useful only at certain times during the day. We have already discussed that when there is a cloudy day or when there is a night time, we cannot use this devices. So this limitation of using solar energy is overcome by using solar cells. So let us discuss briefly about solar cells. Solar cells convert solar energy into electricity. Remember, solar cells convert solar energy into electricity. A typical cell develops a voltage of zero point 0.5 to 1 volt and can produce about zero point 0.7 watt of electricity when it is exposed to the sun. Now, when we were discussing about wind energy, recall that only one windmill is not enough to produce large amount of energy. So, a number of windmills kept together and they are coupled together and then their energy is used. Same way, when there is a single solar cell, it is not enough to produce electricity. So, what can be done? A large number of solar cells are combined in an arrangement which is called solar cell panel. What it is? When a number of solar cells are combined in an arrangement, then it is called solar cell panel. So what can be done? Like this, the solar cells are combined together and their energy will be joined together and it can be enough for getting electricity, which is more enough and which we can use for practical purposes or commercial purposes. So what are solar cell panels? A large number of solar cells combined together in an arrangement which is called solar cell panel. Let us talk about advantages of these solar cells. The principal advantage, the main advantage associated with solar cells are that they have no moving parts, and that is why they require very little maintenance. There is no huge cost for maintenance. They require very little maintenance and they work quite satisfactory without the use of any focusing device. Another advantage is that they can be set up in remote areas. You may think that these solar cells are made up of what? So, silicon, which is used for making solar cells. We know that silicon is called metalloids or semi-metal, right? And silicon is abundant in nature, but availability of special grade silicon for making solar cell is limited. The entire process of manufacture is still very expensive. Silver is used for interconnection of the cells in the panel, further adds to the cost. When we know that when the solar cells are connected together, their cost is very high. It is very expensive. So it adds in the cost. In spite of the high cost and low efficiency, solar cells are used for many scientific and technological applications. For radio stations or TV stations, the solar cells are used in remote locations. Solar cells are also used in traffic signals, also in calculators, artificial satellites, and space probes like Mars orbiters use solar cells as the main source of energy. Solar cells are also used for making some toys in which solar cells are fitted. So, this is all about solar cells.